I want this job, and they say, but you don't have enough experience. And you go, but how am I going to get experience if you won't give me the... Often when we think about putting on a show, we talk a lot about the artistry of it, but no one ever really thinks about the invoicing. So today, that's what we're going to have a look at. How much does it cost to put on a show? Hi everybody, it's me, Mike Williams, and today I'm going to be talking about how much it cost for me to put on my first performance. The reason for me making this video isn't to be like, oh, woe is me, it's so expensive. You'll probably notice as we go, a lot of the things that I am costing in are things that I would only have to pay for one time. I wouldn't have to pay for again after that. I just think it's kind of something people don't really talk about. Beware, there will be a lot of maths in this, or math as the Americans might call it, math. So the way I'm going to cost this show, it's like a hypothetical show, but like based in reality. So it will be averages that I have found online, or I'll be using the guideline rates on the Musician Union website, just to give us an idea. Some things are obviously quite hard to quantify how much it might cost, so I've sort of had to take averages. I'm also making the assumption in this video that I can do none of it. All I am doing is just turning up, doing the act. I can't do any of the behind the scenes stuff, which is pretty much true anyway. So I'm, assuming that I've had to pay someone to do all different aspects of the show. Just to say as well, this is what I experienced making a show for me, for you, by me. What I experienced making my show for you. The point is, different performers will have different requirements. Some might need props, some might need bands, some might want to do it in different venues, some might, cabaret venues, theatres, concert halls, all of these sorts of things. So it really does depend on the performer, really. Hopefully it will give you a little bit of insight into some things that go into creating a show. Just for a bit of context, I'm a singing impressionist. So the show I was creating was me singing on a stage with a band, cracking a few jokes, everyone going, and that was kind of pretty much the vibe that I was going for. So let's get into it. So the first thing I was looking for when I was putting on my show was the venue. So venues can price themselves in different ways. You can rent maybe just the four walls, so you have to bring in all your own sound equipment or your own lighting, things like that. You can sometimes do a box office split, so you might pay a very small fee or no fee, and the box office will take part of the ticket sales for that. So maybe they'll do like a 60-40 or a 70-30 split. Or you pay a flat fee and you get the venue and you get a sort of technician there. But you're responsible for kind of doing all the marketing, all the ticketing and sorting everything else out. So when I was looking, I wanted a smaller venue because I didn't want the stress of trying to sell a big venue. And I don't know if I can do that. So my venue was 209 seats, which if you'd have told me a few years ago that I had to sell out a 209 seat theatre, I would have thought that was impossible. So I'm still pretty amazed that was something that I could do, to be fair. So prices I could find for these sorts of venues varied from £700 to £1,200. So we're going to use the average of £1,000 for our venue. Next thing I wanted was a band. Yeah, I didn't want to be on stage on my own. I've got lots of experience of singing with live bands, so, it felt right. I also thought for an audience paying to come and see me at a theatre, the least they deserved was more than just me stood there on my own, if that makes sense. So to price this up, the Musicians Union gives some rates, so that's what we're going to use. So the Musicians Union, for a single performance in a venue that is over 200 seats, which mine was only just... but the fee per musician is £211.60. I had 4 musicians in total. That takes us up to a total of £846.40. Also, we had to have a rehearsal because my show has a lot of medleys and, you know, different impressions, things like that. So it is actually pretty tricky. So we had to have a rehearsal on a separate day, which again, Musicians Union recommends that the full fee is payable. So I can add another £846.40 for a rehearsal day. In addition to that cost, it is recommended by the Musicians Union that artists charge porterage. So this is how much it costs to move your instrument about. Have your instrument insured, to move about, the fuel cost, all of this sort of thing. It does vary from instrument to instrument, but for a guitar, for example, it costs £39.85. So I'm just going to use that for all four. So if we times that £39.85 by 4, that is £159.40. Yeah, I checked. Musicians Union also has sort of recommendations on charging for mileage and you know, subsistence food. I mean, the price that it recommends for subsistence is £63. I've never known anyone charge £63 for subsistence, but that's not to say that it doesn't happen. Just as a little aside, this video isn't to get into whether we think musicians get paid too much, whether we think they get paid enough. I do have my opinion on that, but that's not for here. But if that is a video that you would like to see, you can click here or here. I haven't made the video yet, but you know, if someone says they want it, then I'll make it and add a thing. The other thing that I also needed on the day, a very important person, was a sound engineer to make me sound amazing. Again, prices vary, it depends on experience, it depends on what the event is, it depends on the venue, things like that. But the average price that I found from my research was about £350. So using all those average pricings that I have for musicians and a sound engineer, we're looking at a total of about £2,201.40. What's the next thing you might need? Got your venue, you've got your amazing musicians, you've got your amazing sound engineer. How are they going to play the things? You need some sheet music. Now, for my show particularly, because I'm doing lots of medleys that relate to the impressions that I do, I can't just kind of buy sheet music for the band off the rack. Do you say that with music? There will be lots of existing arrangements of existing songs out there. So because I've built my arrangements around the impressions I can do, they have to be custom made. So you then need someone to transcribe the music. So again, it can be a really, really long job. It's something that's really hard to kind of quantify how much it actually is. Just to give you an idea, the MU for arrangers recommend they charge a minimum of £74.98 an hour, or they can charge per bar. For an arrangement of 6 musicians or less, it's £6.46 per bar, and my show, I went through and counted the bars, has 1,831 bars in it, which is well over £11,000, which absolutely I don't think anyone would be paying. So it's so hard to kind of, you know, quantify it. From averages that I could find, prices ranged anywhere from £1,500 to £5,000 to orchestrate, to notate a 90-minute show. So taking the middle ground, we're going to go for £2,500 for someone to go through, listen to all the music I've sent them, all the medleys that I've cut together roughly, you know, and write out each part for 4 instruments. So I've got my venue, I've got my sound engineer, I've got my band, they've got sheet music, so now they know what they're doing. Next thing I need is click tracks. Now for some of you, you might not be familiar with what click tracks are. They're quite a standard thing in theatre and at live gigs, and especially for me, because the music has to be in sync with the video. You can use a click track so the band can stay in time with each other and with the video. And also, because there's a lot of different songs happening on that click track, you can put cues. So it will say the next song that is coming up. It might tell them when to slow down, all of these things. So it just really helps the band stay together, and it's kind of quite a standard thing now in a lot of shows and gigs. Also on a click track, you can put any extra instruments that are missing. So if I am doing a song that has strings on, obviously I didn't have an orchestra with me, but we can put those strings on the click track. So they just pad the track out and they make it sound a bit more like the original, which for me, doing like an impressions show, people sort of like that vibe of it feeling like the original. And again, we're not really here to discuss whether click tracks are the right thing or whatever. If you want to know more about click tracks, check out this video. Again, I've not made it, but if you want it, like, tell me and then I'll make it. The price for making click tracks is really difficult to figure out because it's difficult to know how long anyone would spend on or how someone has devised their pricing. The Musicians Union recommends for arrangers, if they're creating demos, that they are charged on top of the fee that they are doing. So I'm going to make the assumption that a producer could do my 90-minute show in one 12-hour day. I don't think that would be possible, but we're just going to keep it at that. So based on the Musicians Union pricing of £74.98 an hour, that would mean that to produce the tracks, we're looking at £899.76. So that is to put all the instruments together. But how do those instruments appear? We've got two options. My producer could either go and hire some musicians maybe to lay down those tracks that they need. A musician can charge £269 per session for a long session. So that is about 4 hours. And we can say that they'll do it in 4 hours. Again, I think it would be hard to do in 4 hours, but we're gonna go with the smallest amount. So that would cost about £1,076 for 4 musicians to come in one 4-hour session and lay everything down. The other alternative might be that the producer decides that they are going to buy these tracks from someone else who has already made them and then cut them up, the bits we need, and put those into the final product for us. This isn't necessarily the cheaper option because they need to be of good quality, they need to be licensed so they can be used in theatres and things like that. And actually for me, even though I'm doing a lot of medleys, you can't just buy part of a song. So for example, if I'm doing a medley that has eight different songs in it, I would have to buy each of those 8 songs, even if I'm just using 30 seconds of that song. And if you're looking maybe at an average of £30 per track, per song, my show, a 90-minute show, has 45 different songs in it, even though some of them are cut up into medleys. So for that, you're looking at about £1,350 if you were to do it that way. So let's say in our hypothetical show, we're going to go with the cheaper option. We've got our producer for £899.76, 4 session musicians for £1,076. So that brings our grand total to the tracks up to £1,975.79. Gosh. Math. On top of that though, the tracks now are going to need mastering, so like, you know, made to sound the best that they can sound. And again, prices but you're maybe looking at an average of another £500 to have that done as well. So, I've got my venue, I've got my band, I've got my sound engineer, I've got my sheet music, I've got my click tracks, everything is ready to go. One other thing that I decided to get for my show was a videographer. Why? I hear you scream. I'll tell you for why. Performing can be a lot like every other job where, you know, you get into those catch-22 situations where you're like, but I want this job, and they say, but you don't have enough experience. And you go, but how am I going to get experience if you won't give me the job? They go, sorry, we don't want to give you the job. And you're like, but I need experience. And they're like, yeah, experience. It happens. It's the same for performers as with everybody else. So often you're trying to get some good video recordings of your shows to send to people when they say, yeah, but do you have experience? And you go, yeah, I sung on a stage one time. So there. And this is what I have found as well. So, you know, people will often want to see how you are with an audience, what your act looks like. So you need a videographer to come and film part of that. Again, prices will vary, it depends on the project, depends, but the average price that I found was about £450, which takes our grand total up to £8,627.19. Now, I know what you're saying, but Mike, you'll sell tickets. No. And yeah, you do. Yeah, you sell tickets. You sell tickets. You would never really budget under the condition of you selling them all, but for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to say I sold them all. So average ticket price of £25, 209 seats gives us a total of £5,225. But before we get excited, your ticket provider is going to charge you a commission. So my ticket provider that I used charged 11%. So we're then taking off £574.73 in commission. That gives us a grand total of minus £3,976.94. So there you go, there you have it. That is the cost of putting on a hypothetical, based in reality, singing impression show. Obviously a lot of those expenses you would only pay for once. The sheet music, the tracks, the videographer, so you wouldn't pay for that again. And in my case, I have lots of wonderful, very talented people around me who could help me create the tracks for basically free. So I was very, very lucky in that sense. Of course, there are lots of other expenses when it comes to putting on a show, marketing it, promoting it, the time you spend sitting on social media, just getting someone to buy a ticket. But what are you gonna do? Like I said, this video wasn't intended to be a woe is me or a poor performers video or a debate on, you know, how much people should be paid or if they get paid enough. It was just something to talk about, really, wasn't it? It's really been weighing on my mind, so it's something to talk about. As always, thank you very much for watching. There'll be more videos on the way soon. Like I said before, trying out lots of different things at the minute, so let me know what you're enjoying, what you don't enjoy, if you want me to actually make any of those random videos I pointed to. If you want to see any of my impressions, they're on TikTok at mike.woodhams, and you can check those out. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Oh, that was my iPad. Yeah, she's broken. I'll add that to the budget. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hopefully, I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.